This episode of Geek-men and the Masters of the Thunder Nerds is brought to you by Super 7, Bulk Dominoes, Nerd Gear, and the Madness Entertainment Group. All right, how's it going, everybody? We have Bruce with us tonight. How's it going, Bruce?
Very good. How's it going, Dustin?
It's going. You know, it's just another day in my book.
Another hot day today. I don't know where you are, but it was a scorcher out here by us on Long Island.
Yeah. I live in Ohio, so it was definitely hot today. We didn't venture outside much other than we took some trash out and got the mail and stuff like that. But that was the extent. It's like, okay, back inside now. AC is our friend.
I hear that. AC is our friend, yes, indeed. And one of my ACs in my office kicked out today, so we were waiting for the service guy pretty much all afternoon.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. So, well, you know how the show goes. Did you get anything in the box? Anything new? I'd go first, but I will tell you I didn't do anything. I didn't get anything.
Okay. Well, as you may remember, I told you guys that I was a big fan of Archangel Michael.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was out there hunting, and I came across not one, but two different action figures that were geared specifically towards the biblical character of Archangel Michael.
Yeah.
Now, one of them you already know about, and you called it before I even remembered the name of the company, but D13 Toys has a line called Biblical Adventures.
Yeah.
And so with Biblical Adventures, this is book 2. So this is figure 2, which is a really nice case. It actually looks like a book all the way around, which is really nice. So it's got a spine. And then once you've taken off the
seal,
paper,
I suppose.
Yeah, the opener, you just kind of, I'm sliding it off here. Give me a second. You need 2 hands for that. Put this down. So it opens up like a book.
Oh, nice.
And so there's a little bit of a read inside that says exactly, what it's about. And it talks about the biblical adventures and that they're used as educational toys. And then when you turn the next page, lo and behold, it is an Archangel Michael figure. And I haven't taken it out yet to look at it, but what's really cool is, I don't know if you can see this. Let me take it out, because it's just going to make it easier for me to manipulate. But it's got like a window box cover, and you have to turn it upside down to get it out proper.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really nice. It comes with 2 different heads, which is really cool. 2 different swords, a shield, and a variety of 3 more sets of hands and another set of feet with the shield, which is really nice. I don't know if you can see the hands in there.
Yeah.
They're in the back of the tray. It actually has 2 separate trays. So let me do this the right way. So you've got the figurine, the separate head, the 2 swords, and the shield in the first casing in the front. And then behind it, the tray behind it has the wings, which are really nice. It's got the base for him to stand on, and then the series of hands that you could use to change out the positioning, and then an extra set of feet.
Oh, wow, nice.
Which is really nice.
Yeah.
So I like that they did that, and you've got a multitude of different hands. You could make him pray if you want him to pray. You could make him hold a sword. You could have one hand open as if he's looking up to God, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But it's got the variety of the hands, which is really cool.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. One thing I didn't realize it came with, and I found this to be really cool, it has a red cape. which kind of goes with the whole motif.
Yeah.
So that just kind of blends in nicely with the shield. And as you can see, and then on the sword, right up here, it has like almost a red jewel to it.
Yeah.
So that really helps with the red, blends it in really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And as you look at the back of the figure, you can see they have the hole for the wings right here in the middle.
Yeah.
His lion's cloth and leather chaps.
Yeah.
And then his leg guards, which are really cool, that you can see, like almost like soccer shin guards, but they're external and they're just, I guess, for armor, if you will. You lift up the skirt a little bit, and you can see he's got the knee pads in gold, which are really cool.
Very cool.
And so I found this figure to be really intriguing, and it was at the suggestion of Zombie. The last time we all spoke, he suggested that if I'm looking for that type of a figure, that I should look at Big Bad Toy Store or Entertainment Earth or one of those companies. And also your friend has a company too. I forgot the one that you guys are friendly with.
Yeah. Well, Four Horsemen and D13 Toys and all that kind of good stuff. So, I mean, we're familiar and palling around and all that occasionally.
Absolutely. And what's really cool is when you look at the front of the, hey, what's going on, Pops? If you look at the inside cover of the book as it opens up, see, I'm Jewish, so I didn't realize this until I looked at it closer, but it's the cross.
Oh, yeah. Duh. I totally didn't see that at first.
Neither did I until just now. I was
like, oh, okay, there's a silhouette.
In the center is a silhouette of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting a phone call. Sorry, can't talk now. 1 second. Let me just let my girlfriend know I'm on a podcast. And then I'll call her back later. Sorry, guys. I apologize.
No problem.
All right. So one thing also inside is that as you see, it's opened up. You've got Jesus Christ in the center of the cross, the star that resembles the cross.
Yeah.
And a little bit about D13. On the inside, it tells you a little bit about Archangel Michael.
Nice. Very cool.
I got to get my camera angles right here. And then what's also cool is inside the back panel, inside the book, you see looks like
it's like stained glass almost.
Stained glass imagery with the cross in the center. So this is the back of the box.
Yeah.
That is the booklet. So it's really cool. And when you put the figure in, I didn't really pay attention to it until I took it out. But it does kind of pop in the background a little bit so you can see the coloring.
Oh, yeah.
But it was really cool to get this figure. And almost days apart, when this one came in, I received another one that I had ordered, and I forgot I ordered. This one's gigantic. This thing's like almost 7 or 8 inches tall.
Wow.
And it's another St. Michael Archangel figure. And there is no markings or indicia on this, but you said you knew where the company was.
Yeah, it came from an Etsy shop. I have no idea. I was like, oh.
That's right. It was an Etsy shop.
Yeah.
It's not a 3-dimensionally printed figure. It's an actual action figure, and it's really cool. I'm going to take this out of the box next because I want to show you the comparisons between the volume and size. It's got a little sticker on the top of the box that says "Made in China." So as we know, most action figures are made in China.
Yeah.
But this one comes out in the plastic cellophane tray, encapsulated in the tray.
Wow. Okay.
And it's a really nice looking figure, but it's also much larger than I anticipated it to be, comparing it to the other figure.
Yeah.
And this one is literally just incredible because the wings fold out.
Wow. Yeah. That is very cool.
His armament is actually rubber.
Okay.
So I'm sure that if I wanted to take it apart and use the pieces for something else, if I were to customize something, I could be able to take it off. And then his shin guards and his feet, he's in sandals. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, I can also do this.
There you go. So this is just a really nice figure that I found on the Etsy shop because I was looking up for Archangel Michael figurines and statues. And what's really nice is that the arm moves this way, it rotates up. It's got, it only has one set of hands that come on the figure and comes with his sword and shield, which is really cool because you could put the sword in one hand.
Okay.
As you can see, he's holding it.
Yeah.
You can, the wrist turns, it's rather loose. I will be honest with you. It is a very loose jointed figure.
Okay.
You might need to put something in there to kind of like bind it up a little bit because it does move way too easy.
Hmm.
And then, if I could get that to stay right where it is, the shield has a bar in the back of it for the hand to hold.
Okay.
So, the hands almost resemble that of an original Mego figure, and it looks to be apparently similar in size.
Hmm.
Because if you compare two figures together, hold on a second, let me get them up here.
Yeah. Quite a bit larger.
He's considerably larger, and he's like a giant version of Archangel Michael.
Right.
So, substantially larger. I don't have a ruler on hand, but he has got to be close to 8 inches tall, like the Mego figures.
Mm-hmm.
But he's hard plastic molded.
Yeah.
As is the D13 figure. So I just found this really cool, and I was happy to get them in. I hadn't actually taken them out of the box yet when they got here, so it was cool, and I appreciated that when you invited me on. I actually had something to talk about because it was at Zombie's suggestion to go on the different websites that you guys utilize to purchase your figures to find this one. And I didn't even think to go on Etsy for it, other than the fact that I went and looked up statues and figurines for Archangel Michael and came up with this one, which was really cool. But yes, it was an Etsy purchase for me. And so the clamshells really work nice and hold the figure in really well in the packaging. And then you can just put it back right into the box, which has a great window display. And the next figurine, biblical style figurine I'm going to start looking for now is Samson.
Okay.
And I have a fond spot in my heart for Samson as well. Archangel Michael was one of my favorites because half my family's police. And being on the job, they use Archangel Michael as their angel of protection, so to speak. So just really cool figures. And I was very surprised when they came in because it took a long time for them to come in, especially the D13 one, because it was a pre-order on Big Bad Toy Store.
Oh, okay.
And it took almost 4 months for me to get it, from the time I pre-ordered it till the time it came in, which is about right for some of these toy companies. And of course, it was just before all the tariffs were placed upon anybody outside of the United States manufacturing. So it was interesting, and I was afraid it was going to get held up even longer, but they came when they came, right?
Yeah.
Couldn't do anything about that.
Our friend, who runs D13, he apparently had got hit with a sizable chunk of change he had to pay for before he could get his figures and stuff like that. So it was very interesting about, he was like, what do I do?
You should have him on the show to talk about that. I would love to hear about that.
Yeah, I probably will at some point, just, haven't set it up yet.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
Now, you guys are sponsored by Super 7, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I got some really cool figures from Super 7, but I didn't know if you wanted to go next, if you have something you want to show.
No, I'm good.
Okay. So I'm a huge Beastie Boys fan. I was listening to them back in college when they started to first come up, and I followed their career and got really into it. Hey, what's going on, OG Bloodlines? What's up, Josh?
How's it going?
Good to see you out there. And so there was a song called Sabotage that you may or may not know about. I don't know if you have the ability to pull up a video and play it. I don't know if playing it would get us knocked off YouTube or anything. So
it most definitely would.
Just know that if anybody's out there and they want to check out the video Sabotage, Sabotage by the Beastie Boys, it's a video montage of an actual, it looks like a 70s, 80s crime, like Starsky and Hutch meets Kojak meets Serpico kind of feel to it, which is really cool. It's a 70s detective shows, which was really cool. They created a series of figures that represented the three main characters, which were the three Beastie Boys. So these are the reaction versions of the figures that I was able to find from a guy on eBay. I didn't even know they released them. I only found out accidentally when I was looking up for patches and pins and other accoutrements from the actual Beastie Boys, products that were available out there. So here's two of the three.
Yeah.
And then you have the third. So you have Cochise, the Chief, and the Rookie, and all three figures. Whoops, let me get them up there like that. All three figures come on the exact same card, just with individual names on them. But it is literally almost a montage of the scenery taken right from their video, which is really cool. And I wasn't a huge fan of the reaction figures when I first saw them. But then I realized that they were trying to mimic the old style figures from the early 80s that they put out, like Toy Island and all these other toy companies that were just trying to put anything out there on the market that they could just to sell and, get some market share in the toy aisles, which was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, their reaction line is very interesting. I've been tempted to grab the Thundercats line because Thundercats was my jam, and I mean, I'm sitting here with a bunch of them all on my desk, so I've been tempted, but it's like I just can't pull the trigger to buy more when I'm just trying to focus on getting the things I can. So like they just did a new toy recolor of Ultraman. It's like I have a Ultraman. As much as I have a fond place in my heart for Ultraman, I don't think I'll buy the toy recolor version. I'll just get the Sky Cutter, which they also released. So it's like I think I'll just do that instead of having to spend more.
It's very frustrating when these toy companies do a redecoing of color patterns on different figures. I mean, Kenner was notorious for that back in the late 80s, early 90s into the 2000s. Well, 93 forward, from Batman the Animated Series figures. When they released those figures and they did 10 different versions of Batman, and it was the same figure, but he had a purple costume on, he had a black and white costume on, he had a yellow costume on. Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, guys, really? And when I used to write articles for toonzone.net, which was one of my first, I guess you could say, journalistic endeavors, I was writing articles called It Figures for toonzone.net. So very similar to you here at It Frickin Figures, I was It Figures on Toonzone. So yeah, it was really cool. And to see these reaction figures come out, and I was like, I liked them. I liked the styling they tried. There are maybe a couple of them that I picked up along the way, but I really could not get into the reaction figures line as a collectible series. Like, I specialize mostly in Batman, but who's that?
Oh, that was just Bloodline, OG Bloodline, Josh Perry saying he's back.
Gotcha. Okay. But there are just certain ones that I felt I needed to get my hands on. I'm a big Iron Maiden fan, and the Stranger in the Strangeland album, there's the back cover where it's Eddie dressed as the cyborg, but he's in a Clint Eastwood style hat and trench coat in a Star Wars style bar with all the aliens around behind him, and they came out with that figure. And I had found it online, and I picked two of them up so I could take one out of the package to display and leave one in package to keep for myself to maybe use down the line as maybe a trade or whatever. And I wound up keeping both. What's up, Chris? How you doing, brother? So I have not done anything with the second figure yet to open it up and display it yet. I want to, but I just haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like you get it, you can breathe a sigh of relief, and then it's like, okay, I'll set this over here until I can focus more energy on doing the next step, which is getting it and setting it up and things like that. So it's like I'm the same way. I'm the exact same way. So
it's funny, we talked earlier this week about, hunting down the figures and your title for tonight's show. It's so amazing that as a collector, you get more of a rush from tracking something down than actually acquiring it. Because once you've acquired it, it sits on a shelf or in a box until you can put it on a shelf, and then it collects dust, and then you have to dust it off. But to go out there and find that holy grail, one-of-a-kind piece that you really want to have, it's the hunt. To me, it's the hunt that kicks off my endorphins and gets me the rush. Once you've acquired it, it's almost like an anticlimactic rush,
Yeah, I can see that. But I mean, for me, it's still, there's the whole call to question on until it arrives in your hand. That's the ultimate, like, because I can place an order for it on Big Bad Toy Store or Super 7 or something like that. But there's a half a dozen other things that could happen before it gets to my hands. So
Correct.
it could get held up. It could get canceled. It could, not receive enough funding. for their Super 7 quota or something to move forward in production. So there's, I mean, yes, I've ordered it, but it's like there's a half a dozen other more things that maybe it gets lost in transit. It's like there's you know, postal shipping services, and it's just like until that arrives, it's like, okay.
Or Chinese tariffs.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I get that, but it's funny because you're a lot younger than me. I probably got 20 years on you, and considering the era that I grew up in, because I am the tail end of the boomers. I was born in 64. Okay. So I just turned 61 this year. Mm-hmm. And I think back to the days when friends of mine worked for Toys R Us so they could get their own collectibles. But then I would go into the store and make friends with the managers of the stores. And I would, you know, when this comes in, give me a call. When that comes in, I'll take care of you. And I always took care of them. But it was the hunt, the chase. Or, you know, now that those kind of stores, Toys R Us, KB Toys, Kitty City, you know, have all gone by the wayside, you know, those are, you know, long since gone. Mm-hmm. They've become the dinosaur of the toy industry. You've got Target, you've got Walmart, and now Amazon, Big Bed Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, or the companies direct, like Super 7. You can order directly from Super 7 if you belong to their club.
Yeah.
So there's always those options, but, you know, like I'm friends with Mez from Mezco Toys, right?
Yeah.
And so I've known him for probably close to 18, 20 years now. I remember when he was out here in Brooklyn, and now he's out in California making it rain money, you know, God bless him. But I remember his original line, the Goons.
Yeah.
And those figures were very chunky and very cartoony, which was the point of it all. But they looked like they belonged in a Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Okay.
And it was the first release that he actually had of action figures. And that was late 90s, maybe. Mm-hmm. Fast forward to 2025 and try to look those figures up on eBay or any collector's site. You can't touch those figures for less than $100 a piece. It's really interesting that something that minute in his beginning, and I didn't think he was going to go very far. And look at him today. You know, the 112 figures are by far my favorite. And I have a whole series of those. He did a series of reaction style figures. They had cross licensing with Super 7, who owned the license to the name Reaction Figures. But I picked up the Bat Cave. You know, it's a cardboard Bat Cave, but the figures were the same size and same style as Reaction Figures. And it came with a Batmobile, which was really cool. That was like by far my most favorite Batmobile because the details were so specific.
Yeah.
The dashboard was just incredibly detailed. And so I bought the box set of that. And it's been, you know, interesting collecting to the point where I think back now, at age 61, I've been collecting for well over 45 years.
Wow.
And I remember going after the Superpowers figures.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, 40 years later, Todd McFarlane releases his newest version of the Superpowers line, which is really amazing and well done. I'm a little upset and frustrated that he gave up the license so easily. So in 2026, he loses the ability to do any of the DC characters anymore. But before he goes out, he's going out with a bang. And so he released something that I was able to get my hands on in the Superpowers line, segueing into it since we're there.
Yeah.
Like how I did that?
Yeah.
This
dun, dun.
is the Fortress of Solitude playset for the Superpowers figures, which is by far one of my favorite toy lines that came out in the late 70s, early 80s for the action figure lines. And I have a huge collection of the original Superpowers figures, but this is the Fortress of Solitude. And I'm not going to break this open tonight as much as I want to, because a friend of mine told me it's a lot of little pieces, and once you take it out of the box, it's impossible to put back.
Yeah.
And I don't have a showcase ready or available for it yet, as I think you've seen in previous episodes that we've done.
Yeah.
I just don't have the space on my shelves in the showcases behind me or in one of my offices, which has all the glass showcases on the 15-foot back wall. But something else I did come across that was very cool in the same vein for the new movie figures, with this Fortress of Solitude Superpowers headquarters, was the Corn Sweet action figure, the regular line of McFarlane Assortments, and it's got really nice art on the back, and it does look like David Corn Sweat.
Yeah.
Is it Corn Sweat or Corn Sweet?
Apparently, everyone I've talked to is been using Corn Sweat, which I just, it's like, okay.
It's SWEAT, so that would be sweat to me.
Yeah.
Because sweet would be with 2 E's.
Right.
But they did a phenomenal job on the figure. And
yeah, they certainly did.
This one I will open up because I'll probably put them on display. Oh, I didn't take my little pocket knife with me. Give me a second, guys. I'm trying to run my nail on the tape because I can't pull it up. Hold on.
Yeah, no problem.
It's not cutting. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pop in my office and grab a pocket knife.
All right. Now I'm actually kind of looking forward to this. I'm very trepidatious. I'm a big fan of Henry Cavill, so it hurts a little bit.
So was I.
It hurts a little bit, but you know, I'm ready to potentially get excited about this movie.
I was kind of hoping that he would stay with it.
Yeah.
But I think him and James Gunn had some disagreements as well, and he wanted a lot more money. Who could say you blame him after he was able to create that character and really make it his own? He really did make Superman his own, and it was really cool, and I appreciated his version.
Absolutely.
But I also appreciated his version of the Cavalrine.
Yeah. That was awesome. I also was a big fan of his Witcher.
I haven't gotten into that series yet, but he left that to do something else.
Oh, no, he left that for creative differences with the director. Because they wanted to do like some weird, stupid story, and he's like, "That's not how it is in the books." And they're just like, "Well, then, go, whatever, play with your books somewhere else."
He's a truist. That's true. He's a purist. Forgive me.
Yes.
Purist. Let me see if I can do this properly without hurting myself.
Right.
Because these elastic bands can be pretty dangerous. I don't want to cut or nick the figure. There we go. Very nice.
Is that a cloth cape? Or is it
no,
rubber?
It's a rubber. It's no, they used rubber on this. No soft goods on it. Just rubber. But they've got 2 sets of hands. So what you see here, one looks like it's gripping or getting ready to grip something. The other is a fist. They also have hands that show him in flight.
Yeah.
So you can put the flight hands on. It's basically just an open hand like this, and he can soar off out into space. Or you can just have him make his fist. The head does not go back as deep as I was expecting it to.
Yeah.
Put him in flight. It goes forward, chin down. But when you try to go chin up, it doesn't bend or flex enough because of the hairline in the back prevents it from bending back further. But it's got the twist at the stomach, so you can twist him at the stomach. It doesn't twist at the belt line, but he can do a split.
Okay.
And, the full rotation of the arms. Now, as you know, with a lot of these new action figures, after they've come out of the package, sometimes they can be very stiff.
Yeah.
Because they paint them so quickly and then package them as quickly as ever. Sometimes it doesn't quite let the paint dry, as we know. And so they get to be a little stiff. One of the tricks somebody had mentioned in one of the podcasts I've heard in the past is that you can actually, the waist does turn a little bit. Not much, but it does turn a little bit. You can put it in a baking tray and then pour some hot water over it and let it sit in the warm water for a little bit, and that will loosen the joints.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also do that if you're customizing and you want to pop off the head or the arms a lot easier.
Yeah.
So all in all, just really well done.
It does look like a pretty cool figure.
It is, and of course it's McFarlane, so you can't go wrong. Todd really puts his heart and soul into these figurines, and it comes with a card.
Oh, okay, nice.
Of the character, and then it comes with, of course, a little base, so you can stand them up in your showcase or on your shelf.
Yeah.
It's got the one peg screw for the bottom of the feet, which is nice. But the artwork is just that. It's artwork. It's not a photograph.
Yeah.
Whereas some of the other cards that come with the McFarlane figurines are actual photographs of the character, if it's based off of a movie character, like the Batman was with Pattinson, or as I like to call him, Battinson.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, shiny.
But they did a good job
Batman.
with this. How's the chats doing? Can you see the chats?
Yeah, they're good. I mean,
anybody out there asking questions?
No questions so far. Of course, I didn't turn on the banner like I was supposed to.
Then I'm glad I reminded you.
Yeah, here we go. But yeah, so I mean, how do you feel about the Superman movie? Do you think it's gonna do well? Are you excited for it?
Honestly, I am excited for it. I am. Because it's DC more than anything else. I'm happy that they're doing what they're doing. I think bringing James Gunn in, as much as I don't like a pedophile making movies, sorry, I'm happy that he is the one doing it.
Yeah.
And that they've got some work to do to play catch up to Marvel, because Marvel seems to have really surpassed, hey, what's going on out there, Road Pig John? Marvel was always good at the live action stuff, whereas DC was always good at the animated stuff.
Yeah.
DC far surpassed Marvel in the DC lines, movies and such, far beyond, what you could. I mean, I liked the X-Men 97,
Yeah.
But there is so much more detail or lack thereof in when you look at anything that Bruce Timm did for Batman the Animated Series or the Batman and Robin series or the Batman. Those were, what's really cool is I listened to one of the commentaries after watching several episodes one day, and the commentary was really cool because Bruce Timm explains how that they wanted to keep it because Batman comes out at night. So they wanted to keep that dark noir feel. And so that they gave everyone, at that time they were still drawing in color on cells. They gave everybody black background cells. So you started with a black background and then you had to add the color to it. And that gave it a very stylized noir feel so that they could create the dark evening brooding, Batman episodes that they produced. And they carried that forward throughout that entire series and just was well done. Was really well done.
Very much so.
And speaking of Batman and the figurines and that, the multiple decos that they put out under Kenner, and then they lost the license to Mattel, and Mattel took it over and created, the same style of figures and just redecoed them. And I'm like, really, guys? But Iron Studios came out with an incredibly stylized artist's rendition figure of Raphael Grandpa's Batman figure that's titled Gotham, Gargoyle of Gotham.
Nice.
Gargoyle of Gotham. So here's a statue that I was able to find through,
that's awesome.
I believe it was Big Bid Toy Store, but just Iron Studios put this out, and that's the background of it.
Wow.
And I haven't opened this one yet either, so we're having another unboxing here on Geek-men. So let's look at it.
Yeah,
that brought
looks
my pocket knife out with me. Yeah, it looks really nice. I want to see how well they stylized it. The Raphael Grandpa artwork on Batman is just incredible. It's very stylized, similar to the darker The Batman series that came out, the cartoon series that came out. That was based on the 3 years later.
Yeah.
Like he's only been Batman for less than 3 years.
Right.
He's only been wearing the costume a little while now.
Yeah. They had the, it was in one of the earlier episodes, they had a 1 year anniversary and then the 3 year anniversary. Yeah. So those were great episodes. I actually really enjoyed that show.
So did I. That and Batman Beyond are so underrated as, canon Batman that people really don't give it as much credit as they should.
Nope.
And so I'm really happy to be able to bring this to you and show you. But you got to give me a second here. Do this right. So on the front in the styrofoam, you can see it says Iron Studios, which is really cool. Put their logo in it. And it's a very simplistic color palette of just blacks and grays with hints of gold thrown in. So,
holy moly.
Here is the body. Okay.
Wow.
With the one peg and the sprue. Like they really did give you a lot of depth to be able to support the figure on the base.
Yeah.
Which some figurines, they don't do that.
They really.
What's really nice is, I don't know if you can see, but he's got the strap clamps on his boots that actually looks like the 3 fins that come off of his gauntlet.
Yeah.
He also has them on his boots in the Raphael Grandpa version.
That's cool.
Yep. And then he's got almost like a little spine backing. You can see it's almost like rigid sections for mobility purposes, but it's got a little spine behind it as part of the cape clasp that holds the cape onto him.
Yeah, that's different for sure.
Yeah, they really went out. They went all out in that. And then the head, which I want to be very careful about, is very reminiscent of the Batman styling, the cartoon styling.
Yeah, I'm getting vibes of the Batman styling and even Adam West.
A little bit,
and you as you were turning it, it looked blue like Adam West did. So
yeah, the reflection on the light, because they did complement the chin strap with gray. So there's a little bit of gray underneath, like he wears a hood or something coming up over his cowl before he puts the mask on, which is really nice. And it's magnetic, of course, so as you put it in, it locks it in very nicely.
That is insanely cool.
Yeah, it did a really nice piece. It's just well done. The cape, the gauntlets are hidden, so they didn't get to display the fins that come off on the side of his forearms. But the detail on this is very specific. And give me 1 second. I am going to run. While I'm running to my other office to grab something else, would you please be kind enough to say hello to the chats and see who's out there? I'll be right back. 1 second.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm not sure if anyone's on Pilled or Rumble or anything like that. But Chris, no, let's see. Josh Perry wants to tell Chris hi. And Rowdy Riles says, hey, just dropping in for some support. Yeah.
Very cool.
Hey, guys.
All right. So I want to show you something first, if you can blow me up again. This is one of the premium figures that came with the Batman versus Dracula video release. That if you bought it from Best Buy at the time, you got a set of two figures, a Batman and a Dracula figure. And if you look at the mask and you look at the stylization of it, it's very reminiscent to
it is
the Raphael Grandpa. Just very cool in the styling, and just
love it.
Trying to hold them up at the right distance for each other to give them size and comparisons. But
that's awesome.
I mean, that's the actual comparison in size.
Yeah, right.
It's all about 3.5 inches big, and then the Raphael figure is 1/10 scale.
Nice.
Which is really nice.
That is a beautiful piece, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I haven't been able to put it together yet and put it on display in my showcase yet because I have to move a few things around. But I like the fact that it's magneted and that it just drops right in and really does stay in place.
Yeah,
that's important. When you're putting statues on display, you want everything to kind of sit where you put it and not move around too much.
Yeah, we were just talking about that, Road Pig John. We both really enjoyed the Batman. It is a great cartoon.
Yeah, it was a great cartoon. One of my favorites of all of them. And I was a huge, Batman the Animated Series fan. And I was doing reviews and articles for other platforms. And, back then I was doing magazine articles for Toy Fair magazine, which was owned by Wizard Press, Gabriel Shamus. Seamus Gabrius. And it was really cool because I didn't get paid in cash, but because I was a journalist and I wasn't caring about the money because I had my everyday job, I did wind up getting samples of products from Kenner, then became Hasbro, and then later on Mattel as they took over the licenses. And that was always fun. I mean, you know about getting samples, right? You get samples from these manufacturers now, and it's like you want to jump out of your seat when you get a box. All of a sudden, it's like, oh my God, right? So, but that was their way of taking care of us when, the old school journalists, if you will, were writing articles in magazines. Action Figure News and Review, or that was Tomart's Action Figure News and Review, which was an old magazine that I used to write for back in the day. And then Lee's Action Figure News was the other one. And I was friendly with both publishers that ran the magazines. It was a father and son that ran the Tomart. And it was, what's his first name? James Lee? Jesse Lee? I can't remember his first name, but it's been so many years. And the magazines have long since gone out of print because the digital age kind of took over. And you could find most of these articles now online somewhere. But if you want to look for the old school magazines, you can go on eBay and search for them, and you will find them. I was also an associate editor of Model and Toy Collector magazine with Paul Mathias, who had taken it over before he sold it to the Lords of Hollywood up in Buffalo, New York. Okay. So, but that was 92 to 99 that I was doing that. So you were probably just getting out of diapers by then.
No. Let's see, 99. Yeah, I was getting to go into high school. So.
Okay. Well, you're a little older than I expected.
Yeah, I'm going to be 40 this year. So.
That's great. And I know you have a lot of kids. You got kids too.
Yeah, 2 kids.
So constantly. Yeah, it's fun. We lie to ourselves and say, "Oh yeah, we're going to the store for the kids. We're going to the toy store to buy toys for ourselves."
Right.
But
so what's next? Josh Perry says, "What's going on?
How late were you planning on going tonight?"
Oh, we can definitely show that last figure. I don't want to keep you too long, so.
Thank you. So, for everybody who already sees the shirt, this is issue number 32 of Spotlight, Marvel Comics Spotlight. It's Werewolf by Night. And it's the cover with, let's see if I can get hold on a second here. See if I can get the whole cover.
That's awesome.
Moon Knight versus Werewolf by Night. Favorite cover. Just an incredible book. And I am a huge fan of the Werewolf by Night character. Jack Russell, which is actually the name of a breed of dog type. And because I'm in the dog industry, I found it hysterical that they chose to name a werewolf after a dog breed. So it was just really funny. I guess the artist or the writer almost done with all the werewolf movies.
That's quite an accomplishment, because I do believe he's commented before that he's watching all of the werewolf movies out. So that's pretty impressive that you're almost all the way through them.
I'm curious, how many werewolf movies are there actually that have been produced already? If you could put that in the chats too, I'd really love to see that. I'm curious. But there was the one that came out with, was his name Del Toro, who played the werewolf?
Yeah.
I never saw that one. But I hear it's actually pretty good. I haven't seen it yet. But this last figure was released by a company that you probably know of called Mondo Studios.
Mm-hmm.
And they release some really cool, interesting stuff.
These are the guys that just released the Turtles Mondo size that everyone was freaking out about in the last, I don't know, the last toy fair, it seems like. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And they usually do like exclusive releases.
Mm-hmm.
And so this last exclusive release, and I think you also have some other pictures that I'm going to ask you to show later, but
oh wow.
This is like a 10-inch Werewolf by Night blow molded plastic statuette. It does have some articulation. It's got 5 points of articulation, both shoulders, both wrists, and the head. And
nice.
Give me 1 second here to do this. But
let's see. I'm gonna work on
This is amazing. I wanted to try and find the original colors, which would have been brown fur and the green pants, but they did 3 colors of this in 3 variations, and they only released about 200 figures of each one.
Wow.
So as you can see, the arm goes up, the wrists turn, so you can have him posed in such a really cool way.
Yeah.
If you want, like he's coming at you.
That's awesome.
Just really well done. And as you can see, it's a pretty sizable figure.
Yeah.
I could put Archangel Michael up to this, and I think Werewolf by Night would tower over him just by a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. He does for sure. But this is a grayish black fur base, and I think you have pictures of the other variations. If you can pull those up for me so we can show them. Make yours the primary screen here.
Let's see.
You look a little bit like a werewolf there yourself with all that beard hair and mustache.
Right. So here's this one.
Right. So there's the original color. That was the one I was going for, but that one's already going for almost $500 on eBay right now. When they first came out, I think they were like $85 or $95. Now they're well over. You can't touch any of these for less than $250 a piece. And this is the original. Go to the next one if you have it available. There's a black and white version, which I saw online, and that was really cool. So it's like black and white inked, like the Munster magazines were back in the day.
Yeah.
The eyes are piercing red, which is really cool because this figure also has the piercing red eyes.
Nice.
That's one thing they kept constant with the figures was the red eyes. And then
let me see if I can find that.
There's another version that's a glow in the dark, not glow in the dark, but a black light version. I don't know if you have that handy.
Let's see. Is it this one? Dun, 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 dun.
Nope, that's actually the original version, the green pants, brown fur, and that was out of the package. That was the only one I saw visible on eBay, and that one's going for almost $500, which people aren't buying anymore because they think it's just too high priced.
Right.
I would probably drop. Okay, so that's the one I have. So it's 10 inches tall.
Yeah.
As you can see by the measurements on the side of it. And this is the exact same one that I have, the black and red. And if you have another picture of one of the others.
Maybe it's this one. Let's try this one.
They have one. That's the box for mine. That's just darker. The picture is a little darker than my actual box is, but it's the same box. Hold on 1 second. 1 second.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I don't have a picture for a glow in the dark one.
Okay. Do you have the figurines? Do you have other pictures of the figurines, or did I not send them?
I don't know. I'm just the ones I'm seeing. This
I may
one.
not have sent. I thought I sent you another version of one loose. I may not have.
Yeah, maybe.
But there's actually 4 versions. So there's the original green pants, brown fur. There's the second version, which is this one here, the one that I have, which is the black gray fur with the red pants. Then there's another version of that that's almost glow. It's not glow in the dark. It's black light. So if you have one of those, the palms are painted green, like a fluorescent green. The teeth are fluorescent yellow. The eyes are red. But then the color of the fur, instead of being black and gray like mine, it's black with turquoise blue highlights. So wherever you see you really can't see, it's blended in really well in the picture, but there's a lot of gray in there with the black that gives it the coloration. But they have blue, and it's a turquoise or a tealish blue, so it pops under the black light, which is really cool. And then they painted the toenails and the fingernails like the fluorescent yellow, so when the lights hit it, it pops.
Yeah.
And then the last and final, I've heard that werewolf eye colors are yellow. Are you talking about in the movies, or are you talking about in this blow molded plastic? I'm curious. That you'll have to confirm for me as well. But that these figures,
I think he's talking
so
about
limited to 200 per color that these figures are going to be impossible to find anywhere you go. So if you see them online on eBay and you really, really want one, drop down and get them, because the lowest price you're going to see right now is like $200 minimum plus shipping. So it's going to be, you're looking at about $225 for one of these figures. And it's just such a well done figure. But that's Mondo, Mondo does these limited edition things that are really cool. I have a limited edition Mondo figure of Wolverine from the 97 cartoon, where they made memes out of it, where he's laying in the bed looking at the picture of Jean Grey.
Yeah.
So I have that in my stash somewhere. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Got that a long time ago when they released that. I don't even remember how we got it, but it was when I was still with Nerds in a Bar and we were doing those reviews, because we actually got a chance to review it. So it was really cool. That was a great piece. That was actually, we paid for it, but they sent it to us as a paid sample. We had to cover certain costs.
Okay, nice. Very cool.
So, yeah. But that's pretty much it for the figures, although I do have one other piece that can become a little controversial here for the show, which is actually a 3D printing of this figurine. And it's not just one figurine, but it's 4 figurines in one 3D printed mold. And it's really cool because I got this just by accident. I found this while I was online searching for something else, and it just happened to pop up. And it's really cool, but you're going to see this. This is amazing. It's a 3D printing of the 4 figures, 3 of them being Secret Service agents, and the one in the middle is Donald J. Trump after he got shot in the head by that domestic terrorist that tried to take him out.
That's wild.
And this here is 4, 5. It's 5 inches tall base wise. So it's a little bigger than your standard G.I. Joe figures.
Okay.
And your reaction figures. But really nice piece. And I got it in the mud clay coloring. I don't know if you can really see the coloring on it that well, but they detailed it. So this This one Secret Service agent is the woman in front, and she's got her ponytail, her little bun.
Yeah.
And she's hugging Donald Trump's waist and armpit. Like she must be smelling his armpit going, what the hell is that? And then you've got the other Secret Service agent right here to his left, who's backing him up and about to run him off. This guy was the guy in charge. He was the lead Secret Service agent for Donald Trump, and to this day, he still is. I actually knew his name, but I've since long forgotten it. And then, of course, you've got this guy in the background who's shielding his back as, it's very stylized. It's really cool. And when I get a chance, I will be breaking out the paint set to paint it up, and I will, I'll let you guys see that when it's complete. Yeah. Don't hold your breath because I don't know how long it's going to take for me to get there.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, so let me ask you. I
just thought it was a really cool piece, and I couldn't afford not to get it. Yeah. It was not that expensive. I think with shipping and handling in total, I think it cost me $35. Everything, okay. Purchase and shipping and handling, and it came in a decent sized box. So I'm not going to complain.
Yeah. So let me ask you: are you going to paint this as like, the Green Army Men, or are you going to paint this like a bronze, like it's a statue?
You see, that's an interesting question because like I hadn't really thought about it.
Yeah,
I was actually contemplating doing it almost surreal, so that with the side that's raising up the hand, have the blood spatter coming from his ear.
Mm-hmm.
When they picked him up finally, and he got out there and he pumped his fist, and the blood still was streaming on the side of his cheek. But a bronzing would not be a bad idea. I actually hadn't considered that. And it would be so much less detail oriented that I really wouldn't have to worry about all the thin paint brushing or the toothpick brushing to get the details in there.
Yeah, so I mean that, and then maybe some patina on it, so that way it looks like it's aged a little bit. That would be pretty cool.
That wouldn't be a bad idea, actually. Thank you for that suggestion.
Yeah.
I really hadn't contemplated that. But now that you've given me some thought to go by, I may have to. It would be a hell of a lot easier to paint it that way.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, I don't know. That was the first thing I thought of when you showed that to me earlier. I was just like, oh man, that would be really cool. And then I was just like, well, wait a minute. I wonder if he's even thinking that.
I didn't. So thank you for that suggestion. That's really cool. I may have to drop Diamond and get a second one because I do want to do a detail painting of it.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it was even cheaper than I thought. I got the smaller size, and it was only $20 with shipping and handling.
Nice. There you go.
There's one next size up. So this is 5 inches. I think there's a 7-inch or an 8-inch one. So that would be, same size. All 4 figures in total with his hand up would be 8 inches tall, which would be the same size as the second Azrael figure. Azrael, listen to me. St. Michael figure that I got.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but it would be, the fist would be the 8 inches high. So each figure would be closer to 6 inches.
Yeah.
Whereas these are less than that. They're probably, actually, the figures are probably the same size. Where's my reaction figures? I've moved things around so many times. I'm curious. So we have a reaction figure here. Give me 1 second. I got to unwrap this one more time. I want to compare because now you got me curious. Before we close out the show for the evening, I got to do a measurement test here. Oh, yeah. Wow. Not that far off.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
A smidge taller.
Yeah.
A smidge taller. So the reaction figures are 3 3/4 inch. So Trump is probably about 4 inches tall. And then his hand goes up another 1.5 inches. So almost 5.5, 6 inches total length. But the figurines themselves are only about 4.5 inches.
Nice. That's
really
awesome.
Cool. So
Hustle Show.
Dustin, I want to
How's it
say
going?
thank you. What's up, dudes? Hey, it's that 757 Hustle Show out there. Good to see you, sir. But
yeah, well,
I want to thank you for having me on tonight and helping out. I know Zombies got stuck in the weeds this week, and look forward to seeing him back on the show next week. But by all means, anytime you need me to pitch in, I'm more than willing and able to do so. I would love to join you again in the future.
Awesome.
So
Sounds
thank
good.
you very much for having me on tonight.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. And
anytime.
For those of you who don't really know who I am, you can catch me on Sunday nights on 3beermen.tv. That's the number 3, BEERMEN.tv. That's our website. And you'll see the links to watch here and go to the show. And you can watch us every Sunday night live from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Big Apple time.
Nice.
So thank you very much. And not to forget Creative Chaos, of course, our dear sister, right?
Yeah.
Christy Mack, who's out there with Flip City Magazine.
Yep.
I'm the co-host with Christy Mack on Thursday nights for Flip City Magazine's Creative Chaos, where we highlight independent artists and creators of comics and art in general. So check us out there as well. And of course, Madness Entertainment Group, thank you, Pops, for having us on, sharing Dustin and Zombie with us here on the Geek-men.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all we have for you today. Come back next week. We'll be wheeling and dealing in some more figures probably. And tomorrow, come join us. I'll be chatting with Addie, and she's going to be continuing her drawing of this messed up mermaid, like what if type scenario. So she's going to be doing that. And then on Friday, we have our movie review, Enola Holmes and Enola Holmes 2. So come back and check those out. And thanks for jumping in, Bruce, and we appreciate you. And until next time, Thunder Nerds Ho.